Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I have to say I'm getting worried. Does your environment look like this one? Yeah? It's a simple yes or no in your mind. Not in mine, I don't know your environments, but you know, if I'm saying how I'm growing my orchids, it's how I'm growing them in this environment. It might be not relevant to how you're growing your orchids. You've got to step back and have a think. You know, I mean, this environment looks like some other people's channels, but not that many. Yeah, it is a very close environment, and it's quite well controlled, and in the main quite automated as well. Well, the automation reduces my workload. It's there for a reason. I used to have to go to work early in the day and often get back late in the evening 6 days a week, you know. So that's why it's all there. It's there for a very good reason. I don't need it so much now, but it still makes my life easier. But not everybody grows like this. You know, you have to look at different parts of the world. You know, you've got those in Australia growing outside. You've got like Michael Pye growing partly outside, partly inside in Australia. You know, different seasons, different weather, all sorts of things like that. You've got the likes of Danny, you know, growing in quite a warm climate, but growing indoors, you know, where there's no light coming in from above. So yet again, that's a totally different environment to how I'm growing. You've got Brad in a fully automated greenhouse up in Canada. Totally different weather, totally different winter temperatures, and a very controlled environment, and it works well. But a classic example of why sometimes you just need to take a step back. I don't grow many Paphiopedilums, and I don't grow any frags. But if I got a frag in this environment, where would I turn for help if I needed it? I'd like to think I did my own research before I started growing those types of plants, but where would I turn for help? I'd turn for help in somebody who lives in my country, has been growing them for years, and doing incredibly well. Now, I don't normally name names, but if I was having trouble in that arena, I'd go to Ed and I'd ask, and I know he'd be only too willing to help. He grows in greenhouses, not in his house. Yeah, well, that's similar to this. Yeah, and he grows those sorts well. So that's where I'd go. So you have to bear in mind that some people's offer of help, although well-meaning, is not going to be relevant to the way you grow, and could be unintentionally a bit misleading. So really have a good think about where you grow your plants. Are you growing them in a window? Are you growing them in a colder part of the world where you get the short days in the winter? You know, are they growing outside hanging in trees in Florida? Well, that advice would be no good to me. I still like to watch the videos and look at the smashing plants and everything, you know. John Benedict puts a post up about Cattleyas or Vandas. I'm in there. I want to watch. I want to see how that all works. But I can't grow like that. You know, I can't do it. I'm in the UK. And all okay, it's nice and warm and sunny today, but might not be tomorrow, you know. Yeah, so it's a warning shot. Yeah, some advice, although well-meaning, might not be suitable for the way you grow. Apart from my bare-rooted orchids, yeah, all of my orchids are in organic media. And some of that might be getting a bit old, and that's down to me to deal with it as and when. I keep the dates I've repotted, I know what they're in, because I make a note of it, and I know which sorts of media break down quicker and when to get onto it. Yeah, but they grow in this environment. Yeah, I've got high humidity. You know, a day like today at 26 degrees, I've got 64-65% humidity in here. You can see gadgets working hard to keep it like that, because every 5 or 10 minutes my extractor fan comes on because the temperature creeps up just that little bit, and I'd rather it didn't get any higher, so it starts sucking the warm air out and blowing in some cooler air. Because although the sun's out today, it's still only about 21-22 degrees out there, so that's the temperature of the air coming in. So it changes the temperature, sucks out a bit of my humidity while it's doing it, and the foggers kick on and replace it. So it remains a relatively constant environment. And as you can see, this is what it looks like. So I'll state the question again. Does your environment look like this? And if it looks completely different to this, you know, like it's in shelves near a window in your bedroom, then is any advice I give you that spot on for the way you grow? The way you grow and where you grow is of paramount importance. Not what you do to your plants. What you do to your plants in different environments needs to be different. Yeah? So you have to watch advice that's given as fact, as though it's for everybody, and it won't be for everybody. Yeah? People who grow in inorganic media need to think about that fact. You know, anything you pour in your pot doesn't tend to change a lot, and probably dries out pretty quick, and most of it comes out the bottom. Yeah? Well, when I pour water and feed, whatever, into my pots, in a lot of cases it doesn't all come out the bottom, it stays there, sometimes for a week. What's in the pot will affect it. So if I was given advice, I'd have to qualify it. I'd have to say that in this environment, in this part of the world, this is what I do. I'll also say when it doesn't seem to be working as well, and when it seems to be working great. And I'll try and say why I think the differences are there. You know, there's some plants in here growing right on the edge of their comfort zone, and they're hanging in there, certainly in the summer, and some are only just hanging in there in the winter because of the lower temperatures, especially at night. And yet some of them love those low temperatures at night. Different orchids, different environments. There is no one piece of advice suits all. There can't be. So when you're thinking about how you're watering and feeding, think about where you are. Think about what you're growing in and where and how you grow. I'm going to put a couple of Google searches in the description for this. You can choose to do those Google searches, which will give you a list of things that you may or may not want to read. But they're searches that I've done, and articles have come up and I've read them, and I'm backtracking. There's a path I've taken that I no longer wish to take because I've got too much evidence that basically contradicts what I was changing. Yeah? So I'm adjusting accordingly. Watch what you're up to out there. Let's be careful out there. I know I keep saying it, but there's other videos, other channels, people's comments on those channels about things said and this, that and the other, and I'm a bit worried about what's going on. That's as far as I'm going to go. It's a warning shot. Make sure you understand what you're doing, what sort of orchids you're doing it with, where and how you grow them, and what part of the world you're in. Yeah, it's important. I got a feeling I'm going to start seeing some people's orchids going downhill, and I really don't want to see that. So careful what you're doing. Careful taking a thin little narrow path based on very little evidence when there's a wealth of evidence that effectively contradicts it. Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go. Otherwise, I don't want a row starting out, but I can see it coming. I've been here around this YouTube environment long enough to see the signs, and I don't want people falling flat on their face. I don't want a row breaking out, but I can see it coming. It's on the horizon. As I said, with the private messages, there's a lot of people contacting me saying, does this actually sound right to you? And in that environment I can give my answer, but I'm not doing it publicly. All I'm saying is do some homework. Please do some homework. Okay? Right, see you next time. I'm going to go and watch the live feed. I had to take my car in for what in the UK is called an MOT test. It's a Ministry of Transport test that tests some of your car to make sure it's roadworthy and safe, make sure the brakes work and the lights are all going and all that sort of stuff. You have to do it every year, and if you don't do it, your car's on the road illegally. It's quite important. And I couldn't get in at my normal place, so I had to book it in at one of their other branches, which was about 2.5 miles from Bournemouth seafront. And I got there early because I was expecting loads of traffic because of the air show, and was there any? Was there hell? I sailed through, so I got there ridiculously early, dumped my car off, and I walked down to the coast because the red arrows were on at 12 o'clock, and I thought if I walk down there I'm going to get there about 20 to 12, I can watch the red arrows and use up some time on what was a brilliant day. Brilliant blue sky, no clouds, and unlike the video I posted, all 9 planes flying. Nobody had a poorly tum and didn't make it. So well worth the walk. And then I had a bit of a walk around, you know, some of the displays on the seafront, and got back into Bournemouth and walked back up through Bournemouth Gardens, and I got my phone call to say my car was ready. So I got the bus back and got my car, and everything's fine. But yeah, a most enjoyable walk. Guess what I didn't have in my right hand? Yeah, what I've got in it now. Well, I didn't think to take the cameras because I didn't think that's what I was going to do, but I really would love to have filmed that display. I really would like to have filmed it myself. So never mind, maybe next year. But yeah, lovely walk in the sunshine, totally exhausted, and nothing to do in the grow room today. And nothing to worry about in this grow room. Nothing to worry about in this grow room. See you again.